Biden's struggling to maintain support among black voters. Message isn't resonating like it used to. New York Times podcast featured black voters rethinking whether to support Democrats. President Biden is struggling to maintain support among black voters ahead of the 2024 presidential election. Independent voter Kim Brown and Republican voter David Sypher joined Fox and Friends Monday to discuss why Republicans could possibly gain more support from black voters in the upcoming election. "The messaging isn't resonating like it used to," Brown told host Lawrence Jones. A recent New York Times podcast episode featured several black voices expressing their hesitation and concern over voting for Biden's re-election in 2024. With some claiming Biden is too old and others stating that the Democratic Party has not fulfilled its promises to black Americans. Black voters unhappy with Biden, Democratic strategists fear it could threaten his re-election. NY Times. The Times The Run-Up podcast involved its host, reporter Asted Herndon, going home for Thanksgiving and interviewing his various black friends and family members gathered for the holiday about their current view of the Democratic Party and whether they would vote for Biden or Trump in 2024. A recent New York Times poll finds Biden with record-high disapproval among black and Hispanic voters in key battleground states. Sypher said Biden's message is not resonating with black voters like it used to. "There is a perception that they are being left behind. There is a perception that their concerns are no longer addressed," said Sypher. One example Sypher cited is how the border crisis has affected Chicago residents, who have expressed anger over the city diverting funds from low-income communities to accommodate migrants. Jones noted how the podcast's female guests were unimpressed by VP Kamala Harris. "I don't believe that a lot of people actually take Kamala Harris seriously," Brown responded, adding that Harris has not hit the marks in her national TV interviews. "I'm not going to say that African Americans will not support Joe Biden. But what I will say is that it will be a slippery slope depending on who his running mate is." She said more and more people are losing faith in the federal government and the political system overall. Sypher explained that rising crime since the COVID pandemic, the migrant crisis and inflation are all factors hurting Biden's re-election prospects. "So you have all of these things that are working against lower-income communities. Ellipsis. It's going to breed frustration over election cycles and they will either sit this one out or make the decision to vote Republican." Brown said she believes former President Barack Obama is somewhere in the secret pipeline still making those important decisions as the Chicago native continues to avoid talking about crime in the city. "The average citizen can no longer walk down a street, because as soon as they do something, tragedy may happen. And we shouldn't have to live like this," Brown said. "This is supposed to be the greatest country in the nation. And we are failing our American people every single day, and that is the frustration that Americans are feeling." Herndon said he was inspired to conduct the holiday survey after seeing a recent New York Times, Siena College poll of battleground voters which revealed that 22% of black voters said they would support Donald Trump over Joe Biden in a hypothetical rematch in 2024. That's compared to the 8% Trump carried nationally in 2020. He noted that several of his family's black dinner guests' testimonies tracked with this data, as several of them revealed they're reluctant to vote for Democrats.